Have you ever heard of necrophilia? It's when someone likes to touch and play with a corpse, even sexually assault it, and then dismember it to make food and swallow it whole. In 2011, a 25-year-old woman in Pakistan died of illness, and her family buried her body in the cemetery. But when they went back to pay their respects on the 7th day after her death, they found signs that the grave had been dug up. The family quickly dug up the coffin, and sure enough, the young woman's body was gone. The police rushed over and immediately launched an investigation. They discovered that from a house not far away, a strong stench of decay would often drift out. The police kicked the door wide open. A huge pot of curry came into view, packed full of all sorts of human body parts, along with 2 long legs. The missing woman's boyfriend instantly recognized the tattoo on the inner thigh. It was his girlfriend's, and right there on the floor lay an axe, a cleaver, and other tools, all smeared with clumps of fat. Just then, the police noticed a trail of ants on the floor, marching in a long line before finally disappearing under the bed. The police lifted the bedboard, and sure enough, found the woman's body. She was hastily wrapped in a plastic bag, giving off waves of a putrid stench. On top of that, there was also a hint of the scent of Chinese photinia blossoms mixed in. In the lair, facing the Taijen brothers, he had no choice but to tell the truth. A few days ago, Lapuli saw the newly buried young girl Kayuya. She was stunningly beautiful, with pale skin that looked almost appetizing. Thinking about her just rotting in the grave, he figured it'd be better to have her in his own belly. So, when the night was dark and the wind was howling, he called his brothers to work together and dig her out. After bringing her home, they first warmed her up for 3 minutes. Then they chopped off her leg and cooked it, finally adding curry powder. Those brothers who often cook human meat know you don't need to add extra salt to human meat curry because the salt content in the human body is much higher than in regular meat. The rest of the body was hidden under the bed, waiting to be enjoyed later. During the next interrogation, the 2 brothers revealed that today's bust wasn't the first time they'd eaten someone. They've been doing this for years. Li Ji had already eaten nearly 100 people, leaving the cops completely stunned. Are these 2 brothers out of their minds? Why are they so into Presdu stew? According to the neighbors, the 2 brothers' family was actually quite well off, and they were the first in the village to buy a TV. But their younger sister had a mental illness, and to treat her, the family spent all their savings. In the end, they still couldn't cure her. He earned money but also committed domestic violence, often locking them inside the house. Later, their parents passed away, leaving the 2 of them without any source of income. Getting a job was completely out of the question, so they chose the easiest way. Go to the cemetery, steal freshly buried bodies, and take the gold and silver from them. They exchanged the valuables for cash and chopped up the flesh to make curry and eat it. Over time, this became their means of survival. In just 5 short years, they had already consumed more than 90 corpses. When the case was exposed, it shocked everyone in Pakistan, and many residents didn't even dare to bury their recently deceased loved ones. The court struggled during the trial because under local law, there was simply no such thing as a charge for cannibalism. If they were charged with desecrating a grave, the maximum sentence would be 6 months. With no other options, the court ended up convicting the 2 brothers of desecrating a corpse, seriously disturbing public order, and destroying another person's property, sentencing them to 2.5 years in prison. The verdict sparked widespread public outrage, with some even calling on the government to amend the law and impose harsher penalties. But changing the law is far from easy. 2.5 years passed in the blink of an eye. The Lakari brothers were released from prison, and they quietly left the small town where they had lived before. Some of it had already been roasted and eaten by the brothers. According to the 2 of them, in recent years they've eaten dozens more bodies, and counting the ones before, they've already consumed a total of 150 bodies. At this point, the police officer standing nearby was so shocked he couldn't speak, and even considered calling for backup. But the most crucial problem still remains. Pakistan still doesn't have any relevant laws, so this time, the 2 brothers were only sentenced to 12 years in prison. So here's the question. Why were they so keen on stealing corpses and eating human flesh? Lakuri had once been very close to a sorcerer, so he asked the sorcerer to put a curse on his annoying neighbor so that any son they had would be born without an anus. The sorcerer told him that to keep the curse effective, he had to eat human flesh regularly. The police searched for a long time but never managed to find that evil sorcerer. Perhaps it was just a story the 2 brothers made up to avoid punishment. Life is already hard enough, so why should the living trouble the dead? A friend of mine told me that human meat actually doesn't taste good, so don't try to imitate or taste it.